Good morning, students. Welcome to the OOAD session. In today's topic, we are going to see about sequence diagram and use cases. How we are going to relate the sequence diagrams and the use cases. SSD stands for System Sequence Diagram. Okay. So before that, let's have a quick recap of the yesterday session. Yesterday we saw how to find the conceptual class hierarchy. You may be asked the question, draw the class hierarchy for a particular bird. For example, draw the class hierarchy for peacock. If the question is given means how can you classify? So you have to mention peacock, a kind of bird. So bird is the parent class. That bird may be a subclass for what? For creatures like that. Or creatures can be created divided into human beings, animals, birds like that. Under birds you are having peacock. Like that you have to draw the class hierarchy. So that is the conceptual class hierarchy. You can add the attribute for the parent class. Here parent class is called as superclass and the child classes are called as subclasses. Yes. So I have mentioned two important rules, 100% rule and then is a rule. 100% all the attributes and operations of the superclass must be applicable to subclass. Then only you can make it as the subclass. Otherwise, it will be treated as a separate class. So that is 100% rule. Then is a rule. A subclass is a superclass. So all the members of subclass must be the members of their superclass. So these two important rules. Then we saw the rules for defining the subclass. At what conditions we have to define the superclass and subclass. Then we saw one term called abstract conceptual class, a class with no object. That is called as abstract class, but we can use the attributes of that class for its what? Subclasses. So an abstract class is denoted in italics. The abstract class name is denoted in italics. Then we have seen how to model the changing states. If I have some difference, if I have some transition in state means don't mention it as generalization specification. You have to mention that state itself as a separate class. Then you subdivide. Yes, states of matter. You can divide into solid, liquid, gas. Okay, like that you can classify the states. Not classify, you can categorize. Categorize the different states that are possible. Finally, we saw the association class. Suppose if the class is if one attribute is having so many values means you can create a separate class for that attribute itself and you can associate with its main class. That is called as association class. The best example is what? Phone number or mail ID. We are having more than one phone number and more than one mail IDs. In that situation, that mail ID itself can be created as a separate association class. Yes. So these are the roles, how we are going to mention the roles in association. Either you can mention it in association line itself or you can give it as a concept. Based on that, you are having two associations, qualified and then reflexive associations. So these are the things we have discussed in yesterday's class. This is your last topic in the second unit, students. Actually, last but one. Sequence diagram and use cases. The very final topic is when to use class diagram. So you can have a quick recap of review of the syllabus, second unit syllabus. So far we have seen class diagram, elaboration, domain model, finding conceptual class and description class. We saw it with the example. Then association, different kinds of association. While teaching that concept itself, we have covered aggregation, composition, dependency, etc. Yes. Then we saw attributes and then domain model refinement. In yesterday's session, we saw domain model refinement. Under that, how to find the conceptual class hierarchy, etc. Now the last two topics, the relationship between sequence diagrams and use cases. When to use class diagram. This is a very common thing we often discussed in the previous sessions. Where we have to use the class diagram, what kind of perspectives we are having. So that is only mentioned in the last topic, when to use class diagram. This we have covered already. Anyway, we have a quick just revision in the last slide. So we are moving to the end of the second unit, relationship between sequence diagrams and use cases. So here sequence diagrams can, here in this system, we can represent the sequence diagram as system sequence diagram. You are familiar with the sequence diagram, how to communicate between two objects. Yes, like class, you can create object also, how the objects communicate with each other. You are aware of it. How to draw the sequence diagram, just you are putting a box. Hope you remember. So you are having one object, then here another object. Just you are going to pass. So I am going to pass one message from this object to this is object A. This one is object B. You have to underline the object. Then only you can differentiate the class name and the object name. You studied in the software engineering. Okay. While the normal situation resumes, we will have lab exercises with all these diagrams for different applications. Okay. So you are mentioning the object name in that is you are underlining the object name. So here A and B are the objects. A communicating one message. You have to write. So enter ID like that. Some any message that is passed. If B is replying for that message means you have to give it as dotted lines. Or else you can send a separate message to A from B to A. Like that you can proceed. Just for example, I have mentioned only two objects. You can have any number of objects. Suppose A wants to communicate with C, you can give. You can pass the association. So this is a kind of association only. The dotted line denotes the reply message, immediate reply message for the previous message from A to B. Yes. So this diagram is called as the sequence diagram. In particular, they are called as system sequence diagram. Hereafter, we are seeing only the, you will cross the abbreviation SSD. SSD stands for system sequence diagram. Okay, what it will represent means it will represent the system events for one scenario of a use case. That only we are going to see. Normally, here I have mentioned objects only, but instead of object, so instead of object, I can use actor here. That means what? Actor means it must have some use cases. The roles or the actions that are done by the actor can be represented by use cases. This actor itself here may play the role. Actor itself can be used in the system sequence diagram instead of the object. You can mention that actor, student, or anything, any customer, manager like that. This actor, he will pass the use cases. He will pass the messages to another object B. It can also be an actor, like that he will proceed. So this kind of representation is called a system sequence diagram. We'll see the example. Let's just for quick understanding, I have given this example. Okay. So how we are generating means from the inspection of a use case. That means if I am very clear with the use case, what is an use case? Action that is done by an actor. Any action that is done. Suppose student is an actor. Enter mail ID or qualifying for the exam, writing the exam, like that. There are so many use cases that are applicable for the student. So those are the use cases. By inspecting, by go through or monitoring the use cases, we can generate the system sequence diagram. Okay. By carefully monitoring all the use cases, we can easily generate system sequence diagram. So that is the third point given. SSDs are derived from use cases. Then another thing, you have to use the abstract level of representation. While naming this, these are the system events. These are called as the events. While naming the events, you have to use the abstract level. You should not give directly the device name. Okay. For example, board. In the Monopoly, we are having board like that, physical input device. Instead of using that input device, you have to give the abstract level. I have given an example. Instead of mentioning a word called scan, instead of mentioning the use case scan, you can mention it as what? Enter item. Actually, your item is scanned. in the next gen POS system. After you buy all the items, you are placing it in the cashier table. So there everything will be, that is the price for each item will be calculated. So actually the product is scanned, then the particular price will be displayed in the monitor. That is the actual thing. But instead of mentioning that scan itself, what actually you are doing, you are entering the item value. So you can better name it as enter item. Okay, because you are entering the item through what? Through scanner or keyboard or voice input or anything. But you should not mention these physical device. Just you can mention it as what? The use case as enter item. So that is the abstract level of representation. Yes. Now we move on to this example. Look at this example clearly. The same case study, the next gen POS system. Just I put it in a rough way here. This is the detailed representation. How we are relating the system sequence diagram and the use case. Very, very important big question. So it's a part B question. Best you can write what is SSD, what is meant by use case. Then you explain one scenario, then draw the diagram. That's much enough for getting more marks. Okay. So look at the diagram. What you are able to understand? You are having one actor called cashier and another one called what? System. System means where your software is installed, where you are going to actually enter all the items and going to calculate the total. That is your system. Okay. And don't put it as monitor here. System means the actual system where the data software is there. Like that you can have. So you are going to analyze a simple cash process. So this is called as cross sale scenario. How a sale occurs. Okay. So a sale occurs means cashier has to enter all the items that are bought by the customer. Then for each product, the price to be displayed. Yes, they will enter the code 1251. So that product will be displayed. How much quantity they will enter. Then automatically it will calculate the total. Like that it will give for what? Many items. Finally, the grand total will be displayed. Yes, after that, the cashier will give the bill, the customer will pay the amount, the same procedure only, the normal procedure. For this, how we are going to draw the diagram? Yes, so you are having cashier here. Actually, the symbol is this one. While drawing, you have to mention like this. So this is the cashier, this one is system. First cashier, he's make the new cell. That means here he is actually going to make a new entry, new billing into the system. So that is the make new sale. This message is passed from cashier to system, a normal message. This I hope you all know, you are clear with how to make the sentence here. You have to make proper verb, proper action words here you have to use. Okay, make new sale. Actually, this M should be in small letter. That specific case is called as camel case letter. You might be aware of it. Camel case means if you are using two words means the first word starting letter should be small letter. The second word starting letter will be in uppercase. This one, this is the best example for camel case. Camel, ஒட்டகமோட முதுகு இருக்கும்ல, just normally there will be some steep like that. So this end sale, you should not put any space like that. End, it is having all small case letter, I mean lower case letters, and the second word first letter starting with uppercase. This one, this make payment. Yes, this is the camel case. Actually, you have to write all these actions or the messages with camel case only. So here this M is small letter, make new sale. So the cashier is making a new sale. Okay, what this is next, what he has to do? Forget this loop, just see the message itself. So what the first thing the cashier will do after making the new sale? Enter item, because that is the thing we are using, enter item. Actually, we are going to enter the items through scanner or keyboard, anything. enter item, what you are going to enter, how you are going to differentiate the item through item ID, and then what, how much quantity. You will press the item ID, that name will be displayed, then you have to enter the quantity, how much biscuits have been bought, how much soap has been bought, like that. If you give the quantity 5 means that corresponding price will be calculated. Yes, so enter item, these are the parameters. Yeah, item ID comma quantity, like function. The function you are passing parameters, same thing. In this message, you are passing the parameters. For this message, what is the reply from the system? It will display the description and the total for each item. Yes, 1211 means some Colgate paste, 1100 bourbon biscuit, like that. The description will be there. You may see the bill of your a provision that is bought by your parents. You can have a look at it. You will get more idea. So it will give the description and total. This is the reply message from the system. So it is mentioned in dotted lines. Okay, dotted line with arrow mark. So this is for one item. Enter item, item ID, comma quantity. Then it will give the description and total. You have to repeat this set of messages for n number of items. Suppose I have bought 18 items means you have to repeat. You have to enter. The cashier has to enter item ID for 18 items. Then only he will get the total. So that is given under loop. Normally in programming, we'll use what? For loop or while loop, while I less than or sorry, until the n reaches 18. You have to scan all the items like that. Here you are mentioning this in a box, this rectangle. Okay. So this is the loop you are going to use. So you have to mention the messages that has to be repeated for n number of times in a loop. Then you mention that word loop in the left top corner. Got it? There is some problem in this PPT. Wait for some time. So you are going to make the loop. It can be for, the loop can be iterated for n number of items. Then finally, you are going to display the screen. Yes. You have to display the total, final total. After that, the system will give the payment. Yes. So after entering for all the items, the cashier will make what? End sale. Yes, end sale. That means the system will stop. There is no more, there are no more items to be scanned. So then finally the system will display total with the taxes. These are the important things you have to note. Don't simply mention calculate total. Total with taxes, then cashier make payment. He will enter the amount. Make payment, that amount, how much amount to be made. He will give that amount. Finally, the system will give the bill and the receipt. Change due, comma, receipt. So this is the exact sequence diagram, system sequence diagram for the process sale scenario. This is one scenario only, not the entire next gen POS. Okay. So how a sale occurs? Yes. So between the cashier and the system. Now look at that left side, big box. So what are the steps that are done here? Customer arrives at POS, checkout with goods or services. It's not goods or services to purchase. Cashier will start a new sale. He will enter the item identifier. The system will record the sale line item. He has to repeat the steps for the items that are bought by the customer. The same thing, whichever we saw in the diagram, that is represented in the represented as points. You have to write like this only. This OID is a very easy and understandable subject to get more marks. Okay. So left side you just write the entire steps that are needed. The right side you are having a clear diagram. How we are relating the system sequence diagram and the use cases. Yes. Now we'll see some more guidelines. What are the uses of SSD? What are the other benefits of using SSD, etc. So these are the guidelines for SSD. Always you have to start the system event. This is called as event. This make new sale. It's an event. Okay. Then enter item. It's an event. Event occurs between the cashier and the system. So you have to start the system event with a meaningful verb like add, enter, end, make, like that. Make entry, end sale, or end payment, like that. Then all these verbs are used to improve the clarity only. By looking at the system event itself, we have to guess what the process actually takes place between those two objects. So we have to easily understand. So mainly for improving the clarity. And also it is used to collaborate between the systems. The a variation of the sequence diagram is called as what? Collaboration diagram. Yes, there are two important sequence diagram and collaboration diagram. By drawing any one diagram, you can easily generate another diagram. Hope you all remember that one. In the software engineering, you might have tried. If you draw the sequence diagram, then press F10. You will get the collaboration diagram, or you can draw the collaboration diagram. From that, you can easily generate the sequence diagram. So they are used to collaborate between the system, between two different systems. For example, the next-gen POS has one system and the external authorizer, external payment authorizer can be other system. They can be collaborated using the SSD. So the following are the three important elements in SSD. Operation name, parameters, and then return data. That only we saw here. Yes, and this is the operation name. This is the operation name. Make new sale is the operation name. Then this item ID, comma, quantity or the what? This parameters or the arguments that are passed. What is return data here? If there is reply message, this description, comma, total is the return data. Got it? So these are the three important elements of SSD. Operation name, parameters, and then return data. If you have no return data, means no problem. You can just mention it as a operation name itself. But normally, in a meaningful application, there will be some return message. It's not necessary that for every message there must be reply. There will be reply messages from any of the objects. Okay, here there is reply message. For this one, there is reply message. Suppose a cashier may give 2-3 messages. After that, there may be some reply message from the system. That is also possible. Okay, so these are the three elements: operation name, parameters, and the return data. Now, you have to note one important term called glossary. Glossary means it will give some information. Actually, what process is going on during the design stage, that is present in the glossary. Okay, it's with respect to the design phase itself. So mainly glossary is used to maintain the information of what's actually happening, what's coming in, what's going on during the design. Yes. So in the example itself, we can see the return line has the description is has what? Change due, comma, receipt. Here you are having the last one. This is the message that is passed from system to the cashier or the operation that occurs. Okay. Actually, here the glossary is nothing but it has the receipt entry. In the glossary, you will have the receipt entry and it will show the receipt. Because there will be n number of receipts. There may many sale may happen. All the receipts will be present in what? The glossary. If I want to get the particular bill number means I can look it into the glossary and I will get the suitable contents. Okay, that glossary can contain text or it can contain images also. If you want, you can have some picture or the digital images of certain products. So that is called as glossary. You can look at the glossary for easy reference. For that, we are using a glossary in the system sequence diagrams. This is a simple SSD for the next case study, Monopoly game. We saw for the next gen POS system here. Now we can see it for the Monopoly game. First, what's the actor name here you use? Observer. Observer is the actor that is used, and the observer is interacting with the system. As told earlier, it is system sequence diagram. The sequence diagram that occurs between a particular person or an actor who is related to the application and the system. Okay, suppose we are using generating system sequence diagram for library management system means your LMS, your library management system will be, that software is the system that is used. Here the left side, instead of observer, what you can have? You can have librarian. The librarian will make some operations in the particular system and he can check whether the book is available or not. Okay, the software that we are actually using, where you are using in a particular system, that is the system that is mentioned here. Okay, so only the diagram is called a system sequence diagram. A normal sequence diagram can be what? It can be an interaction between many number of objects. You can have different objects. Faculty as one object, student as another object, third one admin as object, HOD as object. Like that, you can have different objects. Any object can communicate with any other object. So that is a normal sequence diagram. In the system sequence diagram, here operations occur between the system and the corresponding person or the related person. Yes. So this is for Monopoly game. An observer is there. First, what operation, what message he is passing? Initialize. Initialize the number of players. Before starting the Monopoly game, assume that you are playing the game online. So first the observer has to initialize the number of players. After that, he is what? He is doing play game. He'll click that button, play game. That action only will be initiated. Here make it as P, a small letter. Play, G capital letter, it's a continuous word. Okay, so play game. The game will be played. How the game will be played for some 20 to 30 minutes like that. What the system will finally give? It will give the dice total, a player on the square, particular square. It will be repeated for n number of times because I can't play game with only one move. Assume that three players are there. Player one will throw the die. The particular value will be there. He will make moves. Then player two. All those things also you can give in detail, but in a brief way, this SSD is mentioned. Play game. Finally, the dice total, player, and the square will be returned from the system. Based on that, you can calculate the winner. You can find the winner. Who is the winner? Based on the dice total and based on the occurrences that happened during the game. Who is having more number of money like that. Based on that, the winner will be announced. So this is repeated for n number of times. So we have mentioned it under loop. This loop, it has to be given like this. You have to make a big rectangle outside these two things, and left side you have to make it as a small curve, and inside that curve you have to write the name loop. It mentions these steps are repeated for many times. That is the meaning. So these are the events that happened in the SSD. The first event that happened is what? Observing the person initializes number of players. That's the same thing. Here the three messages I have mentioned in the diagram, that is displayed here. He then requests the simulation of play. Finally, the output is watched until there is a winner. Someone who finishes the board first, he will be treated as the winner. Like that, you will be asked to draw any sequence diagram, system sequence diagram. You have to draw accordingly. So draw system sequence diagram for what else we can see? for the student information system. So there will be some software maintained in the department. By entering your roll number itself, it has to display all your details. So there will be some communication between the faculty and the system. Yes, faculty will give the roll number. Then it has to display the particular student name. Then what? All related details, department, CGPA, like that. So for that, SSD play a very important role. So these are the features of system sequence diagram. Actually, it can be drawn for scenarios of next iteration. What next will happen? What will happen next? If you have repeated number of steps, means you can include it in SSD. Actually, they are part of the use case model because we are including the actors here. We are making the actors here. It's a part of use case model. They are used to represent both analysis and the design artifacts. Not only design, after analyzing only we are getting into design. So both the artifacts will be displayed here, but they are not normally motivated during inspection. They will be created only during the elaboration phase. It won't be used actually during the first phase. It will be used from the second phase only, elaboration phase. Mainly to understand the interface, what kind of, how the communication occurs, because we don't know how the library management system works. Okay, how the librarian is doing, what steps that he is doing to make to check whether the book is available or not, to check our account, how many books we have borrowed so far, like that. Actually, to understand that interface, we are using SSD. And also for collaboration between the existing system and to document the architecture. Third one, mainly to document the architecture. It will display the detailed design, how the message is passed, how the information is conveyed between the librarian and the system. Those things will be documented using the system sequence diagram, because this diagram, it tells the entire thing. Yes, you can make it clear. This is your documentation. This entire architecture is documented using the SSD. But it's not as advisable to create SSD for all scenarios. We can't create for all scenarios. As told earlier, I can't create system sequence diagram between a faculty and a student. You can see, you can say both are objects only, both are having valid operations, like that. For that, you can just go with sequence diagram. If anything to be happened with the system, if anything to be automated, in simple words, you can easily understand. If you are going to do automation, automated billing, yes, in that we can use the system sequence diagram. If I am going to do everything manually, means there is no need to go for system sequence diagram. Yes, so we can't create SSD for all scenarios. For softwares that we are using, for any automation we are using, we can go with system sequence diagram. So these are the other uses. It's mainly used to identify the details, what events that are happening. It will clarify the major operations and it will write the operation contracts. Operation contracts means for particular message, what should be the reply message. Operation contract is a very separate thing. We will see in the third unit also. You can write the system operation contracts, the agreement between the librarian and the user. For example, I am telling that library management system, or you can have that next gen POS. The agreement between the cashier and the system. Agreement means don't think that a written agreement to be signed, like that. How actually the operations take place. That is defined in the operation contracts. Finally, it will support the estimation. Estimation means in software engineering, you might have studied one term called COCOMO model. COCOMO. Any idea? I need some quick answer in chat. What is, or unmute your mic and tell COCOMO. Expansion for COCOMO. Anybody putting in chat? Just now I am noticing the chat. Swati has question, what's meant by change due? Actually, change bill. Due means if you have any pending amount to be settled previously. Yes, and that is actually print bill comma receipt or giving the receipt. That only mention. Due means if you have any due previously, that will also be added here. Or if you are a regular customer, the bonus points will be added. You can also mention those things. Very good, Anshul. Constructive cost model. Actually, it is cost constructive model. COCOMO model, it's a cost constructive model in a software project management. This COCOMO model plays a very vital role. Yes. So for those estimation, for making those estimation, we can use the SSD. Yes. So with this, your system sequence diagram is over. Are you able to understand the relationship between the SSD and the use cases? Actually, the use cases are given as the operations or they are sent as the messages between the actor and the particular system. You can easily understand like this. You can remember like this. So that is the relationship between system sequence diagram and the use cases. Finally, when to use the class diagram? We have seen this thing previously, just to have a quick look at it. Normally, a class diagram is used for describing the objects and the relationship. There are two kinds of static relationship. Number one is association, number two is subtypes. Subtypes means what? You are having description class, you are having derived attributes like that. Those things we can have if needed. Normally, it will give the attributes and the operations and the constraints that apply. You are aware of the constraints. I told it in one class. You can give some constraints for the attributes. You also mentioned the constraints, but in general, the class diagram describes three components: class name, attributes, and operations. These are the three perspectives. When to use class diagram means in what perspective the class diagram is needed, accordingly you have to use. These are the three perspectives we have already dealt in detail: conceptual, specification, and implementation perspective. Conceptual means just a rough idea. Specification means I am describing the components, mentioning the attributes only. In other simple words, I can tell if I give only the class name itself, that is conceptual perspective. If I am specifying the attributes means that is specification perspective. Implementation means what? How I am going to implement, what operations that I am going to do. If I am adding the third compartments means that is the implementation perspective. Yes, with this I stop. That's all about the second unit. Again, I have a quick recap of all the things we have discussed so far. In the first half of the second unit, we saw what is elaboration, what is domain model, yes, what is meant by conceptual class, how to create a domain model. There are 3 steps in creating domain model, and how to identify the conceptual classes. There are 2 strategies in identifying the conceptual class. Anyone, can you guess or might tell? Use the category list or use the noun phrases. Identify the noun phrases. So all those things we have seen in the previous classes. Again, a quick recap of all the concepts we have covered so far. And then we saw what? Description class, attributes, derived attributes, aggregation, composition, generalization, dependency, realization. So many notations we are seeing. Then what? Role. What is the role in an association? What is navigability, etc. Then the domain model refinement. These 2 things, domain model refinement and finding conceptual class hierarchy, we have seen in the yesterday session. Then by today, we saw the last 2 topics in the second unit. Any doubts so far? It's very, very easy. You can refer the internet for many diagrams. There are so many diagrams. You can have a look at it also. So this is a simple use case diagram for a library management system. You have practiced in Argo UML, but for this OOAD lab, related things, we are going with another software called as Rational Rose. Yes, Rational Rose, ROSE. ROSE stands for Rational Object Oriented Software Engineering. It's a tool that is used. We can generate, just you have to drag and drop the actor use cases and all. So this is the use case diagram. Similarly, you can draw the other diagrams. Okay. If you have any doubts, you can ask.